Submission isn't about giving up one thing for nothing, but it's about giving up one thing for something better. Hi loves, I am Dr. Johnine White. Welcome to my channel. I am joined today by my lovely husband who's behind the camera. Say hi, babe.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about what it means to really submit your life to the Lord. Many people think submission is all about just sacrifice and giving up everything that we want or that we desire. But that's not necessarily the case. Submitting one thing for something better is just that. You're getting something better. So what does it mean to submit your life to the Lord? Submitting your life to the Lord means submitting all areas to Him. That includes your love life, your career, your friendships, your hobbies, everything. Everything. It means giving up our vision for what we think our lives should be for His. Now, why is that important? Right? We as Christians know two things for sure. God is all-knowing and He's all-seeing, right? So He can see far beyond what we can. We're very nearsighted. We can only see what's right in front of us, but God sees everything. So that job that we want, or that relationship that we don't want to let go of, or all of that, He sees everything and He sees how it's going to end. So why would we not trust His will for us and His plan for us? Because He knows the outcome. Think about it. How many times has God tried to warn us against doing something or going somewhere or getting involved with someone and we didn't listen, only to find out later that it wasn't good for us? All it did was bring us grief and pain. God knows, and when He warns us, we have to submit to that. That's what submitting is all about. When God shows us something, He knows how it's going to end. We can't always see it. So we have to be willing to submit every area to Him. Again, we're nearsighted, so we can only see so far, but God sees all. It's up to us to trust Him and to submit to His plan. So one example I can give you from my own personal life, when I went into my master's degree and I was coming to the end, I really didn't know what I was going to do, but my vision was get out there, get an engineering job, something in administration, hopefully high paying, and start my life, right? Well, I did what all of my classmates were doing. I submitted resume after resume after resume to all these different companies, and I wasn't really getting a response. Now, it didn't make sense to me because I had a 4.0 GPA. I was president of the Honor Society. I had actually delayed graduation a semester in order to take on a class that a professor asked me to teach. So my resume wasn't the problem. I even had engineering experience working for a firm before I started my master's degree. So it was at that time where I was like, okay, I'm doing this on my own. But Lord, what is it that you want me to do? Well, later that week, I had one of my professors call me into his office, and he sat me down and he said, "You're getting your PhD. I need you to have your CV on my desk by Friday." Now, of course, I'm like, this is crazy. I never considered getting my PhD. But I said, okay, Lord, if this is you, I know it's going to work out. Well, at the end of that conversation, another professor stepped into his office. He was across the hall, and he overheard what my professor was telling me. And he said, when you give him your CV, email it to me as well. I'm going to email a copy over to Texas A&M, and we'll see what happens. So, being obedient, I got my CV together, which is basically a resume for a PhD program, and sent it to my professor, emailed it to the other one, and this was on Friday. Tuesday morning, I got a call from Texas A&M University telling me they wanted me to come visit, they wanted me to apply, and it was a completely paid trip to visit their campus. And while I was there, they also offered me funding. That's what God can do. When God sets out a plan, it is well set out. Scripture tells us God can open doors that no man can close, and he can close doors that no man can open. Had I ignored that and continued to pursue my vision, which was working at a plant or a firm in my hometown, then I would have missed out on a wonderful experience. But even taking it a step beyond that, when I started the PhD program, I said, okay, I'm gonna set a limit for myself. It's gonna be 5 years max, and that's it. I'm going to be done. Well, I came up on that 5th year and I wasn't finished. I wasn't getting the resources I needed, the help that I needed to finish my dissertation. And I ended up having to take a semester off because the funding that I had run out. So for that semester, I moved back home, and I was very frustrated because I was like, Lord, I know you led me down this path. So what is going on? Why are these things happening? Little did I know that in that period of time when I had to take a break, I was going to get married and start the greatest journey of my life. I got married. My husband at the time was on dialysis. He had been on dialysis going on 7 years. And after we got married, I had a little time to settle into being married and married life. And then I started getting the unction from the Lord. Okay, it's time for you to go back. It's time for you to finish. And I said, Lord, what am I going to do? I can't afford to pay for this myself. So the Lord dropped a name into my spirit, emailed this person, and I was obedient. I emailed that person who put me in touch with someone else. And long story short, I ended up being fully funded for my final year, stipends and everything included. That's how God works. Not only that, my husband, who moved back to College Station with me to finish my final year, was able to get under the best medical care that he has had in a very long time. He got surgeries that he needed, and within 6 months, he had a kidney transplant. After being on dialysis 7 years, I still get emotional about it because I think about the goodness of God and how his plans are always greater than our plans. So I got fully funded my last year. My husband had his transplant, and that presented challenges in itself for me finishing because we had to stay near the transplant hospital for a certain amount of time after his transplant. And that only gave me 3 months to finish my experiments, get my dissertation written and submitted, which is really unheard of. But I prayed about it and I said, Lord, I know you haven't carried me this far to abandon me. And when I tell you help came out of the woodworks, as they say, I mean, people I didn't know all of a sudden were there to help me. And I did 3 months worth of work in 3 weeks. That's what God can do. So I share this to say, submission again is giving up one thing for something better. When we submit to God, it is always going to be for something better. Scripture tells us that his ways are not our ways. They're higher than us. So we have to learn to trust him. Now, I also want to say this, with that being said, daily Christian life isn't always as pretty and neat as some people make it appear. There will be trials, there will be struggles, setbacks, there will be heartache, and that's how we grow. And that's what we're going to talk about next time. We're going to take a deeper dive into what daily Christian life really looks like, and we'll go from there. If this was an encouragement to you, please let me know. Consider subscribing and liking this video. Thank you for watching. Love you guys. Bye-bye.